Alright, tubers, I'm going to go ahead and get these empty valve covers on while I got the engine out of the van, and I'm going to do a valve adjustment real quick. Let me get the valve cover off here. Nasty. There we go. Alright. What you want to do on your, there's a number of different ways. You know, there's a way you can do this by running through the, run the engine around in a sequence. But I'm just going to show you, for time's sake, you want to get, when you go to adjust the valves, you get it on top dead center to where both of your valves are closed at the same time. Before I do that, I've got to get these, with this valve cover set up, you got your gasket, it just slides over the edge of your valve cover. Make sure it's getting clean. Knock that rust off the J-pipe down in it. You got your gasket, your valve cover, and it's got these little adapters. What you want to do is take this nut off. I'm just doing them one at a time, leaving it in place. Take that nut off and replace it with your adapter. This engine needed a valve adjustment anyway. It was time. It was time for it, and it is critical on these engines that you keep the valves adjusted. I like to myself leave the washer on here. I like myself to adjust the valves like once a month. Sometimes I don't keep up on it like I should, but you don't want to be, it has a big effect on your horsepower, plus it's hard on the valve train when you have your valves out of adjustment. If you get one too tight, well, obviously you can burn a valve easy that way. Plus, you know, where I'm messing around with the taking these nuts loose and everything, and tightening them back down, I want to check my valve adjustment. I know this might be, you know, very rudimentary for a lot of you guys that are into Volkswagens, but there's folks out there, you know, that are either just getting into it or have never done it before. You know, you can own a people, you know, they own Volkswagens for years, you know, and they have a mechanic that works on them. But, you know, for somebody who wants to learn to do it themselves, that's what this is for. It's probably is very boring, you know, if you're an experienced Volkswagener. What I want to do now, I know that toward the inside, these are my intake valves. Toward the outside are my exhaust. So I'm going to bump this engine around, and you know, you got your intake, compression, power, and exhaust. Those are your 4 strokes. We're looking for it to come off of intake. When that intake valve comes back up, that's going to be top dead center. Let's just bump it around here, watching this valve. Okay, that's an intake stroke here. Now, I'm getting ready, that's top dead center, that's where I want it. I'm going to take a wrench and just roll it back a little bit to make sure that there is no pressure on this valve at all. That'll be exactly top dead center. I just use a wrench. There we go. Okay. And let me get my feeler gauges and stuff, and we'll get this get these valves adjusted. Okay. I'm adjusting these at 6,000. That's just my general rule of thumb, you know, and it's better to have them just a little bit loose than a little bit tight. And depending on your year, you know, look at your manual. Look at your manual and know exactly how tight you want your valves. Okay, I've got that just where it rubs a little bit. Okay, in between there. I want to take the screwdriver. I want to hold this right there. Run the nut back with my hand and hold it right there. You want to tighten this up. And then check your valve. And that's good. You just do the same thing on this one. And I'm just going to do this on the same side. I'm going to bump it around, go through my intake stroke, up to top dead center, and adjust the valves. After I get this side done, we'll bolt the new valve cover on it. Another thing too, if you have a performance cam, go with what the cam manufacturer recommends on your valve adjustment. Stock cams, like I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the Type 1, certain engines wanted a 4/1000th on the intake and 6/1000th on the exhaust. With this cam, it's 6 and 6 on the intake and the exhaust, and obviously your exhaust valve is going to get warmer. So with some of the stock engines, they do want a little bit more lash in it, keep from burning the valve. With all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and try to get this valve cover installed. One thing you want to watch about with this is not to crush the gasket, because these do bolt on. You've got the gaskets that go inside of here, this gasket as well. Got our valves adjusted here. We'll go ahead and fit everything up. Watch out when you put these on, because you have some movement. You know, I line it up on the head. I like to line the gasket up on the head all the way around before I tighten it down completely. Make sure that your valve cover is setting where it needs to be. See, I got some movement here. Set it down nice all the way around, and don't over torque it, because you can crush your gaskets, just make a big mess. I just run these down evenly. I mentioned in another one of my videos that I needed to vent my crankcase, and with these valve covers, you can see here, that's where I want to make one of my, for my hoses. When I go to vent this, it's going to come up, and I've got a distribution block, you know, a box, I guess you say, to where I can get my vacuum in and start drawing vacuum from the heads each side and out of here. So okay, I think that's good. Makes the engine look a whole lot better with that valve cover on it. Plus, it's functional in relieving the crankcase pressure. I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up. I'm going to fire the engine up. You get the old bail off here. Get rid of this. And we'll fire it up. Get it warmed up. See how the valve adjustment is and everything. Everything should be fine, and we'll make sure we don't have any leaks. Okay, dudes and dudettes, whoever's watching, it's going to be a cold start. We'll go ahead and fire it up here. Oh, better plug in my cold pack. There we go. I believe everything's fine with that, guys. That'll wrap up the valve adjustment and the valve cover install. So I'll catch you guys on the next video we do.